So I just learned about a woman. Her name is on here Empath Illuminated, Sam Soullight Healing, and actually I have mutuals who have reposted her, as well as mutuals who have commented on her posts. I've never seen her before until I learned about her today. And she is a light worker. And she ended up murdering a person, a grandpa, like viciously. And based on the reports and stuff, from a nursing perspective, it sounds like she went into like a psychotic break, like psychosis. Probably D-rug induced because they found shroomies and shweed in her bag. So I think it was definitely laced with something, because she, there's no really explanation either as to why she did what she did. There was just like police reports of her being naked and her like attacking the grandpa and the mom because she was babysitting a 2-year-old and the parents were away, and the grandpa came to check on her because the mom was like, she's not answering me, can you go check? And then he got murdered by her when he went to check on her. So then the brother-in-law went, and when the brother-in-law went, she was like covered in blood and she had a screwdriver and she had murdered the grandpa. So the brother-in-law took the baby, the 2-year-old, and like ran, and then she like ran after them naked. So that to me again sounds like psychosis, full-blown psychotic break. But she has like a decent amount of like light worker type posts. Now, this is what I want to say. I observed her videos, and it's a lesson in being so careful in what you are feeding your brain and your neural pathways. The spiritual community can be very dangerous. It leads people into very negative, fear-based timelines, such as believing that people are NPCs, or believing that ops are up against you, or believing that archons are attacking you, or believing that reptilians are running the government. There's all these different timelines in the spiritual community that are very negative and very scary. And they're also very dehumanizing. They dehumanize people. Now, she didn't have any of that, but she did have a lot of posts that were vengeful, that were revenge focused. She had quite a bit of like, you have no idea what's coming with the light workers, and then playing the Beastie Boys. She alluded to murdering people in some of her posts. She also alluded to the fact that she was waiting for her ancestors to dish out karma to people in a revengeful way, right? And that's where my channels are like, no, you give it to God. You allow God to handle things. Revenge is a shadow. So it's really ironic that she was doing shadow work, but her shadows were actually revenge and hatred and anger towards people that would cause harm, physical harm to them. There were quite a few posts that alluded to that. So I could tell from her neural pathways alone that she was wiring into some like very negative stuff, which is very sad because you can also tell that she has polarity and she was called to do light work. But at the same time, when you're the mixture of wiring your neural pathways into fear and negativity and anxiety and paranoia and those types of things, as well as D-rugs, can really lead you to obviously insane behaviors. Her friend like commented and said like, this isn't her, like this is totally psychosis. But the thing is, it is her. You can see in her videos, several videos of her having a revengeful type of mentality, her having kind of a violent mentality, her having an angry mentality, her having, she wasn't really integrating and things like that. And that's the thing is like, people can very much mask on this internet, and even light workers, even people on the 5D New Earth path. Like, that's why I have been kind of like, I'm just going to leave the community because I've just seen a lot of hypocrisy. I've seen a lot of fear and negativity. I'm like very much done with that path. I'm just creating my own path now where I exist, with deconstructing Christianity and also deconstructing spiritual beliefs. So I'm making my own path now, but this is just a warning to people how important it is that you take care of your neural pathways right now and you take care of your brain and you really, really be discerning on what you are allowing in your brain, because it is that serious. It can cause serious issues. And I see it all the time with people. I see people tagging me and stuff where like people are going to disappear off the earth, you know, the rapture theory that's repackaged with New Earth that Dolores Cannon gave us, or these people are NPCs, or these people are reptilians, or like all this fear, negativity based stuff. And it's like at the end of the day, the only thing that we have is our thoughts. Our thoughts are what control us and control our reality. So the best way that you can protest the system and take care of your neural pathways is get out of anything that leads you to dehumanize people or leads you to want to harm other people. Like, that's not how we're going to resolve this. We're going to resolve this by everybody being held accountable to their selves. And that's why I believe in my channels and I anchor into that, you know, with like, God's got this, the aliens are coming, like we have to fix this because so many people are damaged on a neurological level. Like, that's all I'm seeing is that like that's damage from a neurological wiring into a pathway that's very negative and fear-based. And a lot of tarot readers do this. They'll be like, oh, these ops are against you, or you know, stuff like that. Like, there's so much in the spiritual community that's actually very dangerous and scary, and it's not good for our neural pathways. And I keep trying to warn people about that. So I'm just going to continue to, you know, so it was really sad to hear this because a man has lost his life because people are not taking care of their neural pathways, and they're still anchoring into fear, negativity, revenge, hate, harm towards others. That is not light work. That's hypocrisy. So she had a lot of contradicting beliefs within her page alone, which again I see a lot of in many communities, but especially this 5D New Earth spiritual community, I see a lot. So it's like we're no better than Christians. You know what I'm saying? That's what Christians are. They're hypocritical, and then they use, you know, God to justify harmful behaviors towards people. And they completely ignore Jesus's teachings, you know. And the same thing with light workers. They say they're in love and light and unity and transmuting and doing all this amazing work, and then they have vengeful, you know, kind of violent videos, or they're, you know, narcissists, or, you know, things like that. So you have to be so careful in the spiritual community. And this is just such a shame. This is like tragic. This is why I don't tolerate fear, negativity, and I don't like, you know, some of Dolores Cannon's work. She really did a number on our neural pathways with the split theory, but that's the only way she could get it out at that time, because if she really told us the truth of what was going on, people wouldn't have believed her anyway. And also she was in distortion. You could tell she's in a lot of fear and negativity too. And that's just, again, the way that we're programmed and stuff. So it was so sad to hear about this. So sad to hear about this. Like, I was just devastated. I'm like, how can you be a light worker and then literally murder somebody, whether you're in drug-induced psychosis or not? Like, I mean, I have definitely never been in a drug-induced psychosis, but I've taken drugs where I've had a bad time, and never in a million years did I ever think to murder somebody. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm like, I don't even know like how you get to that point, other than you've been wiring your neural pathways into paranoia and fear and negativity and like crazy shit. Like, what if she thought he was an NPC or something like that, or a reptilian, or whatever the hell? That's why I'm like, you guys got to get out of that shit, because it's a slippery slope. It's just sad. It's sad to see this shit. So stop. Get out of that fear. Get out of that negativity. If it dehumanizes people, if people are disappearing from, you know, that kind of stuff, it's not truth. That's not the truth right now. The truth is that aliens are coming. They're going to help us. And we have so much help that we need on a neurological level. So that's the only solution. That's the only logical, plausible solution. Humans can't do it because we're all over the place neurologically. It's just a fucking neurological nightmare, and it's dangerous. So they have to come help us for safety purposes alone. So I'm just more convinced, but also I'm here to warn people to get off that shit. It's an addiction. Fear is an addiction. Negativity is an addiction. And you need to be cognizant of it, and you need to wire yourself out of it.